Hello everyone, today I'm going to be reviewing the book Daughters of Shandong by Eve J Chung, and this is a biographical novel about the author's grandmother. And the main character, Hei, lives with her family, and she has a lot of sisters, but they do not have a male heir, so her mother is kind of punished by the grandmother, who was the mother-in-law from hell, and she they live in a pretty they have a pretty good life as far as economics. Um, they have workers that work the fields for them, and they're landowning people, but the women are treated as second-class citizens. An example of this is one of the sisters' names is Three because she's the third daughter. That's her name. So women were seen as second-class citizens in this part of China until communist Chairman Mao took over and made it a little bit better. And um, so it starts off in 1948, and then showing their good life, economically. And then in 1949, Mao Zedong takes power, and the communists want to kill all of the landowning people and take the land back and give it to the people. And there is no male heir to punish because all of the family has left Hei, her mom, and all her sisters because they see them as useless mouths to feed. And so the communists find the girls, and since Hei is the oldest daughter, she is punished for her family's crimes, and so they leave because they don't have a home anymore because it has been taken over by the communists, and they end up traveling to different places. They end up in their home in the city, and that is there's no one there to greet them. And then they end up in Hong Kong, and then they end up in Taiwan. And I really enjoyed this book. Um, it reminds me a lot of Lisa C. books. Just maybe it's the same subject matter. And I think it's cool that it is a novel, but it is biographical about her grandmother. And I my favorite character is probably uh, I like the mom for her resourcefulness, how she was able to you know save her daughters from to the best that she could, and really step up and help her daughters because they were pretty much penniless. But I also like Hay because she actually made something of her life, and I'm not going to give too much away. And I was actually looking for if Eve J Chung had written more books. And this is actually her first book, and I think she did a really, really good job. And she really did a lot of research about this time period just from her family, but then also just finding things about what the communists were doing in 1949. And um, and she said the hardest thing was finding things in English because she can speak Chinese, but she cannot read it, like, pretty much at all. It's elementary Chinese when she's reading it. So it was hard to find things in English. And she also did talk to her family about her grandmother who had a long life. I think she died in like 2013, so she had a pretty long life, and the grandmother did, and it was just really, really interesting. Uh, and I thought she did a good job considering this is her first novel. And I want to read more by her when the books come out. And that is all I want to say about this book. If you are into like women's novels that are historical, like historical fiction, women in historical fiction, and China, which I'm into both of those things, please, I would recommend this book. I read it on Audible, and it's about 11 hours long, and I read it in about 2 days. Because I have to take breaks, I have to eat and do other things and socialize. But I did read it in about it kept me um, it kept me very interested on Audible, so I was able to have it on in the background while I did different things. And I would visit this book again. And I've even recommended it to my mother because my mother and I share an Audible account, so she might read it as well. So I will see you all in the next book review. It will probably be a book called A Brief History of Japan, and then maybe in late March or April, I will read the book, or I will review, I'll probably have read it by then. I will review the book, uh, the new book by C.W. Gortner called, I think it's called The Saint Laurent News. And I really want to read that because I really like C.W. Gortner, and that's another historical fiction book. So we're really getting into the historical fiction. So I will see you all in the next book review, whatever that is. Bye, guys.